for the minutes at the council meeting, and that'll take on a life of its own. That's what will make the event famous, right? All right, good afternoon, friends, and welcome to Ha Ha 2. Ha Ha, as coined by Matt Kerner and me last summer, as we were organizing our first event held last September right here in Jawbone Park. In case you don't know, Ha Ha stands for Hope and Help Assembly. I know folks who wince when I talk about our drug problems. Some folks would rather me talk exclusively about the good stuff, our Stockert Youth and Community Center, or the Colonial Theater, or Traders Alley, or new buildings going up around town. And indeed, there are many good things happening in Buchanan. But we as a society cannot shy away from what the drug epidemic is robbing us all from. The talents, skills, contributions of hundreds of people right here in our BU community, often our younger residents, the very people who we want to thrive and lead us in our future. We have to do better by these lost souls. But those of us who aren't addicts are also being robbed of our collective peace of mind. Many of you are aware of my son's addiction and my recent sharings about his crisis and how it's impacted me and my family. The disrupted sleep, the theft of treasured possessions, the dread of the next call coming that your once little buddy is hospitalized again, or worse, has been found dead. During the couple of years that Matt and I have become close friends, I've come to know so many people who are in recovery. Matt will tell you that more than 25 million Americans are now in recovery in our country alone. We currently have 327 million people in the U.S., so 1 in 13 of us are in recovery right now. We all know an addict. Most of us know well more than one. If that statistic doesn't grab your attention, perhaps this one will. The Center for Disease Control and the National Institute on Drug Abuse reports that every 25 minutes, a baby is born withdrawing from opioid withdrawal. This condition is known as NAS, standing for Neonatal Abstinence Syndrome. The average hospital stay for these infants is 16.9 days, and the cost is billions and billions of dollars annually, with 81% of all costs being paid by state Medicaid programs. The average cost for each infant hospital stay is $66,700. Last fall, PBS did a piece on Huntington's Hospital. Please indulge me while I share an excerpt from the online article about PBS's well-researched article. And I quote, "On bad days, 5 new babies are born in withdrawal from opioids at Cabell County Huntington Hospital in southern West Virginia. In the neonatal therapeutic unit, there are 0 unoccupied beds, but staff can't turn the infants away. On 1 week in mid-August, the unit held 27 newborn babies in a space designed for 15. The trademark hum and ding of monitors and alarms are absent from this neonatal unit. That's by design. Those noises overstimulate babies born addicted to opioids and going through withdrawal. When the babies cry, nurses don't bounce them, they sway from side to side. They don't smile at them, that's overwhelming. To soothe the babies who cramp and shudder, nurses slowly turn them to face a muted gray wall. They keep the lights low, and over the course of days or weeks, taper doses of the drugs until the babies are healthy and in need no more. Each year, this hospital delivers roughly 2,900 babies from West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. Of these babies, 1/5 are exposed to controlled substances during pregnancy, and 400 babies require medication for withdrawal. Sarah Murray opened the neonatal unit 5 years ago to meet that demand. Each child who enters her unit has been diagnosed at birth with neonatal abstinence syndrome, that term used to describe the group of problems that occur in babies born exposed to addictive opiate drugs and which can result in a lifetime of developmental delay. Each child is referred to Child Protective Services, the agency bloated with hundreds of new foster care cases fueled by the opioid crisis from across the state, easy for me to say, in the last year alone. Remember, friends, this is but one West Virginia hospital. On June 18, 1971, President Richard Nixon commenced our society's war on drugs. That American battle has raged on for more than 47 years now. 2 years prior to this, in '69, Nixon had formally declared our nation's war on drugs that would be directed toward eradication, interdiction, and incarceration. Today, the Drug Policy Alliance, which advocates for an end to the war on drugs, estimates that the United States spends $51 billion annually on these war on drug initiatives. Our nation has spent approaching $2 trillion on the war on drugs. 2.3 million Americans are in jail right now, or 1 in every 110 of our citizens. My kid is one of those people. Approximately 5 million Americans are on probation or parole right now, or about 1 in 50. Most of these people are incarcerated due to some form of drug involvement. The single biggest expenditure in our war on drugs has been the building of new prisons and the cost of incarcerating millions of our citizens. More Americans are in jail today than at any time in our nation's history, and we are trending upward. Beginning in the 1980s, the number of people jailed for drug offenses increased by 126%. Since 2008 alone, we have averaged more than 1.5 million people arrested in the U.S. annually for drug offenses, 500,000 of which are incarcerated each year. Mandatory minimum sentencing requirements at the federal level have resulted in many citizens receiving stiff penalties of many years for nothing more than possessing illegal drugs. Imagine what our society would look like if a fraction of what we spend on locking people up was to be expended in therapeutic programs, detox centers, residential placement facilities, counseling, and reintroduction to the workforce initiatives. We cannot continue to wait on our federal, or for that matter, state government to address our drug crisis. We have to do our part at the local level. In February 2017, the city of Buchanan launched the HOPE Project, a holistic, community-supported approach to assisting addicts in their recovery and reintroducing them as contributing members of our society by assuring that addicts' health needs are met, that they sense they are bona fide opportunities at turning their lives around, and they have a place to call home, and that there are employers willing to take a chance on re-employing them. We will have meaningful dialogue and commitment from government and area employers to generate genuine hope for those in recovery. Health, intervention, detox, recovery, and counseling for addicts and their families. Opportunity, a second chance, a fresh start, a clean slate, a non-judgmental support network during addicts' lifetimes of recovery. Place, residential options, or services in the home. We all need our place. And finally, employment, a consortium of employers willing to discreetly give recovering addicts a chance to return to gainful employment and hence a sense of value as sustaining, productive members of our community. I implore you, all of us, to join to end the failed judgmental approach. The old notion that addicts simply need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps is a myth that has been perpetuated for a half-century. Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign, launched in the 1980s, hasn't worked. Addicts cannot just say no. People need help, and our addict population is part of us, and we need to provide help. Help is not achieved by locking more people up. I am uplifted by the many friends I've made who are in recovery. I celebrate them when they post anniversary dates of their quote-unquote clean time. For me, right now, my time is day 18. It's been 18 days that my son Connor has been in jail because of his addiction. Help us end this equal opportunity play. Remember, we really are all in it together. The it today is our drug epidemic. We all own it. Enjoy a great second ha-ha, and thanks to Matt Kerner and everybody associated with Opportunity House for taking the time to put this together. Thank you.